My name's Nigel. I'm from the University of Adelaide, and I am part of the ANZI Industry Mathematical Sciences Engagement Task Force. For those of you who are from overseas, ANZI is the Australian Mathematical Sciences Institute. It's a collaboration of about 30 of the Australian maths departments, and it's been around for about 20 years now, I think, and it's been very effective in playing a role in coordinating mathematics across the country, lobbying to the government, etc. And what I want to talk about is not the whole of AMSI, but is this task force that we've created with industry. So let me recap a little bit. AMSI's board re-established its Industry Advisory Committee in 2014. It's chaired by Dr. Mark Lawrence, who is actually a former South Australian, studied at ANU, did his PhD in University of Wisconsin-Madison, and then went off into Wall Street and various other places with a very senior career in risk management in the US and Australia. He was then on the ANZ Executive Committee as the Chief Risk Officer from 2000 to 2004, moved to McKinsey Consulting, who many of you will have heard of, and was pretty much their chief risk consultant during the start of the global financial crisis, until his brother refused to leave the home until he resigned because he was going to kill himself. So he's a very senior businessman, got an incredible array of contacts, but is fundamentally a mathematician and wishes he'd never left academia. During 2015, we embarked on an extensive industry sort of consultation process, and as a result of that, the AMSI board and the members, who are the universities themselves, agreed in February 2016 to establish a task force, which would consist of a broad cross-section of senior industry and academic representatives. The name task force sounds very imposing. One suggestion was I should have descended on a rope for this talk, but the name task force was determined by the industry people. They said it had to be a task force. If it's a committee, they do nothing. If it's a working group, something else goes wrong, it has to be called a task force. What were the findings of that outreach? When we went out to talk to those companies, we prepared a one-page flyer telling them of how everything was going down, going down. You know, the enrolment numbers are going down in school, and this is impacting on universities and everything else like that. Before we'd opened our mouths, people from the industry were saying, thank God you're here. We've got a real crisis here already. None of this future stuff. It's already a serious crisis. It's biting us. We cannot recruit the students that we need, or the graduates that we need. So as key findings, all the companies were clear about the value of quantitative skills. There was no question about that, and the need is increasing. The need in particular in data analysis is enormous and growing very rapidly. Unfortunately, the feedback was that many of the university graduates that do have the quantitative skills don't have those broader practical and transferable skills that industry needs when you're given an ill-specified problem and you need to work out how to help the company with that problem. You're not given nice little packaged mathematical equations and asked them to do something with them. Many of the firms said they couldn't meet their needs, and the really exciting part about this, and this is the big change, industry have said some of these things for a long time, the big change was that industry wanted to be part of the solution. They in fact forced us to create the task force. The number of phone calls Mark got from these business people saying, so what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? Was what drove the formation of the task force. We distilled from this 6 key skills that industry says is required. And there are some obvious ones. And there are some ones that I think we would all think mathematics does a very good job of developing. But then again, there are some others which we may not be quite so good at. So logical and critical thinking. We would all hope we got a tick for that. The practical ability of graduates or employees to do problem structuring and solving, often beginning with messy data and messy problems, ill-defined problems. I don't think we do that at all. Data analysis skills. Some of our students have great skills. Those who've done some stats courses, probably 1 or 2 specific stats courses. The ability to work collaboratively in multidisciplinary teams. Not really. Not much collaborative work, no multidisciplinary work. Communication skills. Well, archetypally we know mathematicians are very shy. The old joke about you can tell an applied mathematician because they looked at your shoes, not their own. But, what are we actually doing about communication skills? Are we developing them? And lastly, ability to code. This one was interesting, and we really explored this one with them. What did they mean? Did they mean they had to know R? Did it mean they had to know C or COBOL or something like this? And the answer was no. They don't care what they program in. They care that they can program. And the main reason was because it was the easiest way to verify that the students have logical, critical thinking, but also that they have persistence. And so the ability to code was really a proxy for those things. Now, they need them to code as well, but that was how they foresaw it rather than it being any particular language. If they want a particular language, they'll send them out to learn it, the first thing they'll do. One of the companies said, we grab the CVs, we put them in 2 piles. Those who can code, those who can't. Those who can't, we don't look at again. It's that simple. We need to be making sure all of our students, whether they're pure maths students, stats students, applied maths students, that all of our students can code. So let's get back to the task force. We've set the purpose over the next 5 or more years to strengthen the relationship and dialogue between industry and the mathematical sciences community in Australia. It is currently almost non-existent. I know there are individual academics who have individual research relationships with individual companies or individual people in individual companies, but systemically there is almost no engagement. And to powerfully address the dramatic shortage of suitably qualified graduates with the combination of skills that industry needs, those hard quantitative critical thinking skills and those softer communication, teamwork, problem structuring skills. So that's our long-term goal. The current status consists of 18 mathematical scientists and industry representatives. There's a plan for 2017 that's been agreed, and in developing that plan, getting us to where we are, at least $350,000 of in-kind support has already been devoted to the development of this plan and development of the task force. That's a significant investment. The majority of that, of course, comes from industry, but I've put a hell of a lot of work into this, and so have others who you'll see on the next slide. So the members, they're a little small, but you can see Mark Lawrence up in the top left-hand corner. I've mentioned him. You can see Maya Jimug a couple along. For the people you might know, of course, are on the bottom row. Norm Doe on the right-hand side is a pure mathematician from Monash. Jean Yang is a statistician, and a few of the other people are here. For example, Peter Taylor, Kate Smith-Miles is president of the Australian Maths Society. You should know a number of those people. In between that are all the industry people. You'll see companies like Woodside, BHP Billiton, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, fairly significant pillars of our economy. Some new players, PayPal Australia, Google Australia. We've also got Fairfax Media, which is sort of like an old player almost. Robin, who's from Fairfax Media, is apparently the only executive in their company who's actually got positive cash flow from her group, because she looks after the digital technology side of Fairfax Media. Everyone else is losing money. Anyway, asides. So, very significant companies. And all of these people are chief something officers in those companies. So they're significant companies and very significant people in those companies. I sat there when we had this meeting of these people and tried to work out what the salary was, but I gave up when the numbers got too scary in my mind. So there's 4 key planks to our strategy or our plan. Broad and senior engagement, and that's across the whole community. Government, industry, everywhere. Universities, obviously. To build commitment and secure support and funding. Probably the biggest activity we've got, and the biggest cost activity we've got, is an awareness program in schools and the community. to drive substantially increased awareness among parents, students, teachers and the broader community about the demand for mathematical skills in the Australian workforce, and hence why you might actually want to study maths. We need to take it away from the situation where, you know, Johnny comes home in year 5 and says, I'm having trouble with maths, and mum and dad say, don't worry, I could never do it, you'll never need it. That's not an acceptable place for our society, but it's where we are. We need to move away from that, and we need to move it to being a crucial aspect, just like it is literacy, as you'd never see parents say that about literacy. We need to develop effective industry engagement, so deepen and broaden the engagement between industry and ourselves over time, and we need to supply industry-ready graduates. And so that means we need to improve the skills of our students in the areas that industry need. And so this is an area that I'm actually leading that group, along with Sean Gregory from Woodside, and I think that's the one that's going to have the most impact on us, is that we need to get our house in order there. The awareness program will hopefully drive a real change in the community, and that might have the impact of increasing our enrolments, but that would be a side benefit. So the awareness program, we've developed a narrative for it. It's absolutely magnificent. It's incredibly powerful. Donated by one of the better creative agencies in the country. They donated it to us. We've got to do things like ensure alignment with existing initiatives, and then we're going to develop and execute a multi-channel marketing campaign through all sorts of different avenues, aware of the different audiences. We've got teachers, careers counsellors, parents, children, very different audiences, different channels. This is the one that industry are really keen on. They want to see a change in Australia. And we're looking at an annual budget here in the few multiple $1 million. So it's a significant activity. The industry-ready graduates, we need to strengthen our effort in developing those six key skills on the earlier page. We've got to change our course content to actually develop these things. We've got to, make coding courses compulsory. We've got to actually, in all of our maths courses, develop those additional skills. Teaching them to integrate X squared is important, but teaching them to use those skills we've taught them in open-ended problems is really the thing we need to do that's different. My glib way of putting this, and I know it's glib, is that every course above a certain level needs to have a project in it with open-ended questions, group work, all those sorts of things, where you get to put a lot of those 6 skills into one activity. We're also working on work-integrated learning opportunities for our students. Given the paucity of our relationships with industry, we have essentially no really authentic in-industry placed work-integrated learning. A number of universities have a compulsory work-integrated learning component. RMIT, QUT, places like that are at the forefront. I'm going to Perth again on Sunday to see some students there that we've placed with Woodside in a pilot of a work-integrated learning program, which we hope to roll out more broadly over time as we learn how to do it better and better and engage companies and universities in that program. We hope that will become part of the coursework program. That will be for credit as we go forward. We're also looking at professional development courses to upskill the staff who are already in industry. And there's a number of range of elements for that, from the technical people and helping them get even better, through to the people who need to manage technical people, helping them with those sorts of ideas. So it's a broad spectrum of opportunities in the professional development space that we need to look at. We're also looking at a fairly significant program with Google, looking at trying to help the professional development of the maths teachers out there as well, because that's clearly a huge cohort where we can hopefully provide a significant benefit. So in conclusion, the collaboration between us as the mathematical sciences through AMSI and industry is incredibly powerful. We've got the ear of government unofficially. There are some significant members of the government at the moment who are very excited by this initiative. And other people like David Gonski, who you'll all have heard of, he made the comment that this will change Australia. So we've got a lot of support around the whole area of the really senior parts of the Australian community. The commitment from our industry members is quite astonishing. You know, the phone calls we have every fortnight, there's a sort of a steering committee, we have a phone call every fortnight. It's at 6 a.m. Perth time. And there are 3 people from Perth on that phone call, and they're usually there. They move heaven and earth. One time we had a phone call scheduled for when the taxi got to New York, to the hotel in New York, so he could dial in. It's that sort of stuff. They'll do anything to squeeze in their time to help us on this initiative. So their commitment is really astonishing. We as the maths community, the maths and stats community, we need to grasp this opportunity. There are a lot of things for us to do in that area of developing the skills that industry need in our students. And that's not to say to dumb down other parts of our education. It's about broadening our education so that we include those skills as well. And we've got a real responsibility there to take advantage of this opportunity, or it'll disappear and we'll be left behind. Oops, that's the wrong page. So that's the key message from me. I would like to thank the organisers for letting me have this opportunity to talk to however many hundred of Australia's and other people's mathematical scientists. I gave this presentation at the Stats Society, and a lady from Sweden came up to talk to me afterwards because she thought it was fantastic and wanted to go and work out how to do it in Sweden. So this could even have international influences as well. So it's a really important, really exciting opportunity. I look at this as probably the most significant thing I'll ever do in my life. Forget all the rest of the stuff I do. This is probably the most significant thing if we succeed. But I need all of your help. We need to take on responsibility to make sure that we actually take it seriously and take this opportunity to make our students as useful as possible in industry. And that way, all the problems some of the problems in mathematics will start to ease, I believe. So thank you, and if there are any questions, I'll take them now.